Hey Girlie, welcome back to episode 5 of your new favorite podcast. I'm Libby, one of your hosts.
And I'm Ciara, your other host.
And today we have a very special treat for you, a way to kick back and relax, a way to energize your day. We are going to be talking about coffee and tea. But before we start, as always, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing good, can't complain. Just living life.
Living La Vida Loca.
Living La Vida Loca.
Not much about it.
Not much going on.
Honestly, everything's kind of just been chill, and it's terrifying because I know if it's chill,
Something's brewing.
something's a brewing.
Something's going on, I don't know what, but
It'll
it's
happen.
coming. It's coming.
We will see indeed.
But yeah, not much going on. Have you been keeping up with the Artemis 2?
I have. I'm thrilled for them, really. They're coming back today, which is
The day that we're filming this.
yes. I was gonna say
The day we're filming this is the day they're coming back.
It'll be April 10th.
Yes.
So good on them. Did we ever find out what their wake up song was for today?
Oh, I didn't. Oh, I didn't. Dang it. What was their wake-up song? We'll have to look it up.
We'll have to
later
look it
and
up
see.
later.
But yeah, I just love learning about space. I think it's really cool.
It's so cool. Space absolutely terrifies me. Like the thought of just the endless expanse, the endless void. Everything is so big, and it's so scary. I keep going back to teaching every time, but I taught it a little bit last year and talking in light years and like hundreds of millions of light years across for like the galaxies and stuff. Oh my god, I can't. My brain does not comprehend numbers like that.
But yeah, it's really cool to be watching that. What's going on?
Nothing much, to be honest. House tour music video came out.
House tour music video came out. We are getting fed with the music videos because Layfae's music video is dropping soon. I'm so excited.
God, I love
She
her.
really gathered the troops for that one. I'm excited.
Oh, that's gonna be great. What else?
Pop culture wise,
I don't know.
nothing much.
Yeah, because it was like I can get into politics, but nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that. That's why we're talking about coffee today.
Yes, indeed. Something just a little bit of a palate cleanser, something very simple. Kind of what we're planning to do today is Ciara's going to talk about a little bit of coffee, things about it, the history, where did it come from, just little tidbits. And then once we're done with the coffee talk, we're going to come over to tea time, and I'm going to do the same, talk about the history of it, some of the culture surrounding it, and we'll go from there.
And yeah. Well, first off, I want to ask you, what's your go-to coffee order?
Like coffee or tea or just coffee?
Just coffee.
Oh, just coffee. I'm a big fan of like a weird latte. The one that you guys had last spring, it was like lemongrass lavender latte. I very much enjoyed that. Like a rose latte.
That was my little Tamagotchi.
Tamagotchi. Why did I say Tamagotchi?
Yeah, he's mad.
He's
Continue.
But yeah, I usually like to get a funky latte or just like a basic vanilla iced coffee, because if you didn't know this, I'm anemic and caffeine is a huge iron buster, which means if I drink a lot of coffee all at once, there's a good chance I will pass out in front of whoever at that given moment.
You're on a coffee date and you're like,
woozy. Yeah, I need to be very careful with the kind of caffeine that I take.
Yeah. I don't really,
And yours?
I don't really get affected too much by caffeine as much.
Okay.
I will say my go-to is always especially if I'm trying a new place and I get I don't know what to get. My go-to is either a iced hazelnut latte or iced brown sugar latte. It's always a good go-to. It's always there.
I feel like
Or
it's hard to
version
mess
of that.
up.
Yeah. With oat milk.
Okay.
So that's always my go-to ones. I'm really liking, because at the coffee shop I work at, we have lavender back, which is fantastic. So I've been enjoying an iced lavender latte. But
Lavender's such a hit or miss for me.
I like ours because it's a homemade lavender syrup.
Yes, that's why I like yours.
So
otherwise
you
it
can
tastes
taste
soapy.
the difference.
Mm-hmm.
But I really that's probably my go-to.
That's valid.
One to do.
Then I guess on my end, what's your go-to tea order? I am very interested.
If you ask any of my coworkers,
I think I know what this
they are
is.
going to say mint tea.
Mint.
Because it is, I kid you not, a mint tea. Listen to me, everyone. A mint tea on a hot summer day, an iced mint tea, is going to cure everything that ails you on that day.
Cures what ails you.
I still, to this day, I still bring up one time a customer was like, do you have a good tea recommendation? It was during the summer, and I was like, oh, girl, ice mint tea
I got
is
you.
your go-to. And she even came up to me at the end and was like, you know, I really like that recommendation. That was fantastic. And I was,
I win.
I said, what can I say? I'm just that good at my job.
I do enjoy it because you introduced me, because you have 2 types of mint at your place, right?
Yes.
Because you introduced me to the one that you enjoy, and it was very delectable.
Was that Pacific Coast Mint?
Whatever one you normally get.
We have 2. So it's Pacific Coast Mint and Moroccan Mint. One has green tea in it. The other is a herbal tea, so it's decaffeinated.
Ooh.
But one that we unfortunately don't have anymore, but I really loved, it was called a Tuscany blend. And it was mint with like rose hip and a bunch of other nice stuff. It was such a good blend because you got the mint aspect of it, but it was more like a subtle mint.
Oh my god.
And it was beautiful and amazing, and I miss it so much every day.
Bring our boys home.
I see, because we still have like the little tin that has the label on it, and every time I go down to the basement and look at it, I'm like,
no. You're missing your child.
I'm missing my tea.
My baby.
But, yeah, so
Yum.
that's cool. I feel like I've always enjoyed, well, actually, funny enough, how did you get into coffee or tea drinking?
2 very different stories. Coffee was on accident. I was carpooling with a friend of mine during my sophomore year of high school, and we usually stopped at Big B every Tuesday, and I usually got like one of their cookie dough like frappe things.
Yeah.
One that don't have coffee. It's more just like a milkshake. But for some reason they had screwed up my order and gave me what they call a mint mocha. It was a frozen mint mocha. And at first, because I was expecting cookie dough, sweet, vanilla, I was like, oh, this is gross. But the more I sat on it, I was like,
This is kind of good.
hey, this is kind of fire. So I drank the mint mocha very frequently because it's just good. I liked the bitterness mixed with the sweetness. And then I kind of just started branching out from there into the Starbucks, like chilled lattes or whatever. And then my dad tried to get me into black coffee, and that didn't work.
No.
And then I started feeling really sick from it, and we were like, oh, wait, it's probably because she's anemic. So now we kind of just, I drink socially. I drink coffee socially. Tea, my mom tried to get me into it when I was a kid. Whenever I was sick, she would make sleepy time tea, the chamomile.
Yeah.
I didn't like it back then because I was a sweet kind of kid. I liked Kool-Aid. I liked Capri Suns. So the herbal tea blends were kind of like, ugh. But when I moved out for the first time in college, my 2 roommates were really into tea. So we would always have a kettle on, and they would usually offer like, hey, Libby, do you want a cup? And I felt bad saying no. So it's like, yeah, just brew me whatever you like. And so just because we drank it so much, I started finding things that I actually liked. And then I researched how to brew it properly so it didn't taste like grass all the time.
Yeah.
And now it's my go-to. I love it. Hot tea, iced tea, sweet tea, unsweet tea, whatever you want.
You're a tea drinker.
I am.
From way back.
From way back. And what about you?
I started drinking, well, it was in high school. So here's the thing. My mom was a coffee drinker. My dad was not.
Okay.
So he was, and I don't want to really label him a tea drinker, but he would always get like a sweet tea from like McDonald's.
Yeah.
That was his go-to thing.
I love it.
So he kind of was. But my mom would drink, like, she usually just drinks black coffee or just, but she would be dropping me off in high school, and there was a Tim Hortons right across from my high
Timmy's.
school.
Yeah.
So almost couple times a week we would go through the drive-through, and I would get the ice caps, the frozen coffee ice caps, and that was when I had started. And then I slowly tried different drinks. I remember one of the first coffee drinks, funny enough, was a peppermint mocha from Starbucks. It was a hot peppermint mocha, and I was like, ew, what is this?
What is this flavor?
But it was like, oh, okay. After a couple sips, I started getting into it.
Right.
It's funny now because I don't care too much for peppermint mocha. I really have to be in the mood for one.
Okay.
But I also, like, it's very weird because I am a huge iced coffee drinker. Like, even in the dead of winter, I will take an iced latte.
I prefer an iced coffee.
But on the very moments that I have, I will be like, oh, I want a hot drink.
Yeah.
And I will either get a hot chai.
I love a chai.
Yes. Or a hot peppermint mocha or a hot, like, mocha of some kind.
Nice.
And I think it's because I don't prefer it iced, I prefer it hot for when it comes to mochas.
Yeah, I would agree. Though the mint mocha from Big B, when it was frozen and blended.
Mm.
But I do prefer...
Good.
I'm so picky. I don't know. But you had mentioned it. My favorite kind of in-between. It gives me just a little bit of caffeine. It tastes a little bit like coffee. I love a chai.
Yeah.
And for those of you who watch it, I think the past couple of episodes I've had a little chai sitting right here. Today we are having something called Paradise. It's got pear, pineapple, Honeycrisp, apple, lemon, and mint in it. It's a juice.
And I have coffee grounds.
You're just gonna start munching on like.
I'm just kidding. I actually do have an iced lavender latte over here on this side. This is for aesthetic purposes. Anyway, but yeah, that's when I started drinking coffee, was like just slowly. Because then as I got into later on high school and college, I really liked like the different stuff. And then I started working at a coffee shop.
Yeah.
So. But when did I start drinking tea? I want to say it was just progressively, it was like there.
Kind of got turned on to it.
Yeah, I got maybe into high school and then really into college. It was only a couple years ago that I really got into it, and I have like a whole tea setup now and everything. But
my tea drawer is extensive.
Yeah, that was more of like a gradual, I just started being like, oh, this is really nice. And it wasn't until I started working at the cafe that I actually tried a lot of different ones.
Yeah.
So I tried green tea, white tea, various black teas, and one of my favorites, funny enough, is Earl Grey.
Interesting.
Specifically a hot Earl Grey with a side of honey and a little side of oat milk.
Okay.
Fantastic, I will say.
I wish I was more a fan of like those breakfast teas, Earl Greys. I mean, the only one that I can kind of get down with is the Irish breakfast.
You see, maybe this is a controversial take, maybe it's not. I cannot stand English breakfast tea. I swear, if someone hands me a cup of English breakfast tea in the morning, I will, for the life of me, act like I'm happy, suck it down, but just know I'm going into the next room and I'm contemplating my entire existence. I do not like English breakfast tea. I don't know why.
She's nasty.
Out of all the teas you could possibly pick,
why English?
You pick English breakfast tea. Go for Irish or go for Scottish breakfast.
Yes, they're lighter.
The English breakfast, though, get that out of here.
Get out.
Get it out of here.
Get it out, boo.
Because it's just so... I remember in college, I wrote a whole, like, not even a debate. It was me just, you know...
Like an argumentative paper?
Kind of, about English breakfast tea.
Damn.
It was in a creative writing class, and we were writing about something, and I just, like, started saying, oh, because we were... Okay, so it was a creative writing prompt, and there was a picture. And the picture, if I remember, it was like this little small town. There was a pot, like a teapot, with legs running towards this, like, figure.
That's haunting.
And so what I did is that I put myself in the narrative and said I was a little figure I was chasing, and that the pot was a pot of English breakfast tea, and that I was running away from my Airbnb or, like, hotel or something because I didn't want to drink English breakfast tea, and so the pot started chasing me down the street. I kid you not. I have to look up in, like, my old notebook or on my Google Docs because I have it still.
Okay.
And Yeah, but it was something in regards to that. And then
That's
my
so funny.
professor was just like, dang, I take it you don't like English breakfast tea. I was like, you are
No,
right.
you
I
are
do not.
Let me
I
tell
do
you the ways that
not.
I hate.
I will take any other tea besides English breakfast tea. Get that out of here.
Get it out.
But
1 out of 5 would not.
whatever.
Would not drink again. It's like that, and then I don't love most black teas just as is. It needs to be a blend.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Black tea is too strong. Or black tea is too strong for me.
Yeah,
I like a white or a green tea.
Mm-hmm. Green tea is probably my always go-to one.
It's got antioxidants in it. Fun fact from me, from your little auntie. Green tea is an antioxidant. So if you feel like your throat is getting scratchy and you feel like you're getting sick, drink a cup of green tea every couple hours, and that natural stuff will actually cleanse the gunk out of there. It's kind of like if you put a green tea mask on your face, it sucks all the gunk out of your pores. It sucks all the gunk out of your throat or your sinuses.
And if you're having a bad day, make a good old cup of Joe.
A good
dark
old cup of
roast,
Joe.
straight out of the dishwasher disposal. Just grind it up, hot water, and just and move on with your day.
Honestly, yeah. Sometimes you just need like trashy coffee to get through.
Yeah, listen. Hear me out.
I'm
okay,
hearing.
so I like local coffee shops. Okay, I really do. But there's something about going to like a chain coffee shop that is just like I needed this, because listen here, I love my coffee shop. I love what the coffee we serve. This is one of the coffees we serve is Mom and M. It is a fantastic company out of Cincinnati, and they do great work, and they are amazing.
Period.
So if you're ever in Cincinnati, go visit their original location. Well, there's 2 locations in Cincinnati, but you can also shop online.
Yeah.
But literally, I love like an iced coffee from Big B, or like a latte from Starbucks or Dunkin'. It's just like those things are just sometimes they hit.
Yeah, I always go to McDonald's and get like an iced caramel coffee. It's shameful when you pull up to work with like a giant like McDonald's coffee, but boy does it get me through those days.
It hits you.
I got meetings in the morning, I got meetings after school. Nope, big coffee. I'm good.
Big coffee, I'm good. It's like, because then also you have 7 Brew, which I don't know if you've tried that yet.
I've never been there yet.
I tried it once. I was a little taken aback because they make, I'm pretty sure they make all of their drinks breve, which is with heavy cream.
Yeah.
Or half and half. So I was like, dang! But it was really good.
As long
It was
as
really good, I will say.
I mean,
thoroughly
try
enjoyed
it.
We should try 7 Brew. I know, you know what I need to experience, and I need them to put a location around here somewhere, is a Dutch Bros.
Ooh,
my friend and I have talked about this, where we're like, we need to go, because I will say, we're going to switch topics to fast food chains for a second. It's so fun when a new fast food chain like comes over where we are, because we live in the Midwest. Yes. And I kind of like second guess where we were.
Wait a minute.
We live in the Midwest. So a lot of like, really popular restaurants or like chain or like fast food chains that are typically on the West Coast. When one comes here, it's so exciting.
It's crazy. I mean, did you see the Buc-ee's lineup? I know that that's not like a restaurant.
Crazy.
But down in Dayton.
Yes.
Crazy. Somebody got engaged there during the grand opening.
Lovely. In front of Buc-ee.
In front of Buc-ee.
In front of Buc-ee.
Which is crazy.
That is fantastic. If he gets to the wedding. They should have their wedding
at Buc-ee's.
And be get married by Buc-ee himself.
They have a dude in like a Buc-ee's mascot uniform.
In a suit.
Like, he's got the stoles like a priest would.
You're gathered here today in holy matrimony.
Under the bright lights of the Buc-ee sign.
But when a fast food chain comes over here, it is so exciting. So, for example, one of the most recent ones, which I finally got to try, because the only thing about when a new one comes over here is that it's so busy and packed that you have to like wait. The worst one that I remember, so long time ago, we did have a Krispy Kreme here. It didn't
Yes,
do
we
well,
did.
so
No.
it went out of business. Or, you know.
At some point, yeah.
And they brought it back, like, a couple years back now.
Mm-hmm. So I remember going for 2020 graduation stuff.
So there's this street that is, like, hugely busy because it has, like, a bunch of... It has a bunch of places, a bunch of, like, it has the Costco,
it's
the
a nightmare
Home
street.
Depot, everything. Like, everything's on this specific street. And it's also a small street, too. And it gets really busy. No matter the time of the day, it's always busy. And my high school was near there. And so when the Krispy Kreme opened, there was so many cars. It was almost all the way to my high school. And my high school was, like, on the opposite side of where it was.
Right.
And it was crazy, and the line was insane, and it was madness. But it was really enjoyable to try, like, new things.
Right.
But the recent one that came here was Shake Shack.
Shake Shack. It's in one of the outdoor malls, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I got to try that for the first time. It was actually really good. I did enjoy that. But the other one I have to try is Dave's Hot Chicken is here now.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I just remembered that the other day. I was like, I forgot there's a Dave's Hot Chicken out here now.
You're good.
But, yeah, so me and my friend always talk about how because there's, like, you know, the Shake Shack. In-N-Out, but I don't think, unless years down the line, I don't see In-N-Out coming over here anytime soon. I think it's a very...
We kind of topped out at White Castle, I do fear.
Yeah.
Like, I could see maybe Jack in the Box.
Jack in the Box I can see.
Potentially, just because I feel like that's on the same level as White Castle, which may be heresy to say, but...
I did get to try a Jack in the Box last year because we flew into Seattle. And I got to try one there, and I was so excited. I got everything on the menu.
That's awesome.
I have tried In-N-Out when I was in California. I have yet to try a Whataburger.
Forgot that existed.
And I want to try it. My mom has tried it because she's gone to Texas multiple times.
Right.
And she said it was really good, so I need to try that. The number one that I need to try, and you know what I'm about to say, because there has been two times, so 3 times the charm. I have been in the presence of a Jollibee. And for those of you who don't know what Jollibee is, it is a fast food Filipino restaurant that started in the Philippines and then came over across, and went nationally.
Right.
And I need to try it so badly. I got so hyperfixated on it about a year ago, and it has been on my bucket list of things to accomplish. The first time I was in the presence of one was in Liverpool when I was in Europe.
Okay.
And I passed by it. And then I turn around and I'm like, Jollibee. And the second time was we were in New York. And I saw it in Times Square in all its glory. And we passed by it. And the same time I was like, Jollibee. And we were in a rush, so we couldn't because we were trying to get to the show, so we couldn't stop by. But I was like, damn.
God.
But I promise you, there is one an hour away, an hour and a half away from us.
We're going.
I need to go experience a Jollibee because it is my life's dream. Once I accomplish that, everything else is fine.
This is like Forrest Gump, where Forrest and Jenny keep meeting, but like
it's me and Jollibee keep meeting each other, but God damn it, I couldn't get to another one.
It's that scene in The Notebook. I wrote to you every day. What? For a year. What?
But I need to experience a Jollibee in my lifetime. If I don't, my life is unsatisfactory. I did not accomplish anything in my life if I don't accomplish going to a Jollibee once.
We'll do that. Yes. We'll get you to a Jollibee.
I need to try that mango peach pie.
Ooh.
Now. But anyway,
yeah, so
continue.
I was gonna say, do we want to kind of go back into what our OG topic was?
So today we're talking about coffee and tea. I have a little brief history, a little bit. There's a lot.
Yeah.
Coffee is a huge thing. It's become so popular now that it's everywhere. You have your local coffee shops, you have your big chain coffee shops, it's basically a journey across continents and centuries. So it started coffee originally, has origins in Ethiopia.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So there's a legend, which I've never heard of this before.
Ooh.
So there's a legend that an Ethiopian goat herder named Kaldi, I hope I'm saying that right, noticed his goats were energetic after eating these berries that were on, I think, just a tree. And he was like, what's happening to my goats? And so he ate them and tried them, and then he noticed his energy and it made him more happy and go go, and so he shared them with a monastery. Okay. And I didn't look up what that whole monastery, but I remember one of my coworkers kind of told me a little bit about it, and there was a lot of it in the monastery that because then at one point I think they thought it was a bad omen or something like that too, and it was so this whole thing escalated in the monastery and all that. But eventually it crossed the Red Sea into Yemen in the 15th century.
Yeah.
And once it arrived in Yemen, it became popular as a social beverage.
Okay.
So now when you look at that, it's now it's become a huge social thing. Oh, you have a meeting, let's meet at a coffee shop and talk about this. Or if you're meeting a friend for the first time in a while, it's oh, let's meet at the local coffee shop. Me and you the other day, I was just hey, you want to go to coffee together?
Exactly.
And it's just it's become such a social thing. It's become such a big interest a lot of people have.
Yeah.
So you have your people that are just really into coffee. They know all about different blends, different brewing methods, and everything under the sun they know about coffee. Me personally, I know a little bit about coffee. I'm still learning, and even though I've worked at the cafe I worked at for a couple of years, I'm still learning a lot more about it because there's just so much you can learn.
Oh, absolutely.
And you are just constantly learning about this new thing. But a little fun fact, apparently the first coffee houses were established in the Persian Gulf.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
So which I was dang. So basically, to kind of sum it up, it went from Yemen to Turkey, and then it became a big thing in Turkey, and then transported from Turkey to Europe, and then with a booming trade route with Arab merchants, and then bringing that into selling coffee throughout the whole world. Dang. So it's kind of it was like a I don't know how to describe it, but it's
it had checkpoints along the way.
Yeah, where it's okay, it's went from this person to this person, and it went from Ethiopia to Yemen to Turkey to Europe to all these different places now, and now it's just globally everywhere.
Oh, of course.
So in the 18th century, which was the New World, European colonialists established coffee plantations in the Caribbean and South America.
Yes.
And typically now, South America is one of the biggest places that grows coffee.
Right.
But then as that all started escalating, because I believe this one is origin from Colombia, and it has notes of strawberry candy, black cherry, and lime.
Oh, fascinating.
Yeah. So it's you have now going from probably just a very basic coffee bean to then having different processes, different roasting methods, different even brewing methods now.
Yeah.
Because after coffee started spreading all across the world, it still took a long time for people to really understand the culture of coffee necessarily.
Yeah.
So then when people started brewing or experimenting with different brew methods, that's when it really started hey, you could take this simple little bean and make so many different things out of it. So you had, like, in Turkey, they would just brew it in petite, decorative, like, copper pots.
Oh, cool.
But then you had Italy, which was experimenting and having the success of the espresso.
Right.
Which, my little fun fact that I learned was the concept of the Americano, or like how the Americano became.
Yeah.
Which was U.S. soldiers in the war, in one of the world wars, I believe it's World War One, when they were sent over, they would, they wanted coffee, but they didn't really have as much access to it.
Yeah.
So they would try espresso, but the espresso was too much for them because they didn't really like know anything about the espresso as much. So they started diluting it with hot water, and that's what started the whole Americano. So, because Americano, for those of you who don't know, is basically hot water with a shot of espresso added to it.
Fire.
So it's to dilute the espresso taste, but still have that coffee energy you get from it. And then you have your specialty coffee houses, which then took that concept and just ran with it.
Yeah.
So you have your drip coffee, you have your French press, your espresso now, your pour over, your cold brew, and just all these new things that have created this coffee culture.
Yeah.
Because I'm, like I said, I'm into coffee. I like learning new things. A lot of my coworkers are really into it, so whenever like a new pour over comes in or a new blend comes in, like they are always experimenting, always trying new things.
Sure.
And it's very cool because we learn about like different ways to brew a coffee and all that. So it's fascinating when someone is really interested in something and they show you about it. Yes. And you're learning new things.
I love when people just like info dump like that. It's so fun.
Yeah, but coffee has like become such a huge cultural thing where it's like, because even over like, I would say even over the early 2000s till now, that whole coffee culture, at least in the US, has grown drastically. Because you have like, you had like Starbucks and like,
yeah,
the places that like always like, always had coffee. We knew they had coffee, but then you started like all these local coffee shops started opening up and started really like, bringing a different kind of culture of coffee. So then, yeah, you have like your specialty lattes, your seasonal menus, like the different syrups you want to add, the different milks you have. Like, it's just become a whole new thing. And to think that it started from a guy in Ethiopia who noticed his goats were acting weird and were more energetic, and he tried this berry and was just like, hey, this could be something. And now it's become this whole
thing,
new thing that's like, you ask someone, hey, you want to go get coffee? They're like, yeah. So
I love it.
That's my brief history of coffee.
Brief history.
But at least what I know, like I said, I always just like also the cultural like part of just being in a coffee shop. I think that's really cool and really fun. And it's just because I remember like very like young, I one time asked my mom to go to a coffee shop in the morning before she dropped me off to school, and she was like, okay. And I remember I just got a bagel because I wasn't drinking coffee at that age. So she got her latte and her coffee, and I got a bagel, and it was just fun. Like it's like the vibe of being in a coffee shop, like working on stuff or doing your thing.
I do like working in a coffee shop. If I ever get a break, like an extended amount of break during a school day, I like to go down to Earth. Downtown and stuff. It's just got a lot of plants around. It feels very open, very naturey. I really enjoy it. Like, I do a lot of art there. If I'm just trying to vibe, I kind of will just go there to sketch, paint, do whatever.
Yeah. It's I think coffee culture has a lot of, like, just community. Like, especially the cafe that I work at is so community oriented.
Absolutely.
That it really tries to like bring the community together. And then like, because it's in the neighborhood, so it has like a very local feel to it.
It does.
So.
And you guys feel like, pardon me, I don't know why I'm yawning so much. You guys do like all the markets and stuff that draws the local
Yeah.
vendors in, it draws new people in. I don't know. It's very nice. It's a good setting for a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and I think that it's just a very coffee has brought like a lot of like just community and like a love for something that you probably never would have thought you would love.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, that's a brief history in the coffee.
That's that. I think coffee has a very like local, homey type of feel where it's like it's cozy. I'm sitting down with a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
I think tea can have that, but tea has and probably will be rooted in a little bit of higher society culture.
Yeah.
Just from where its history came from, which is what I studied into, it originated during the time of the Shang Dynasty in China. That's when at least records were starting to show the first time that people were brewing tea leaves and using them. There was also a myth for this one, or like just a legend, or whatever behind it. There was an emperor at the time who was just kind of drinking boiled water from a cup because he had just made a decree that the citizens of his province should be boiling their water before drinking it, just for cleanliness or health purposes, whatever. But from the tree next to him, the leaves kind of blew off and drifted into his cup. And the longer they sat there, the more he realized the color was changing the water and the taste was changing. But he was like, yo, this is
kind of fire.
This is kind of good, y'all. So he's
like, hey, homie, try this.
Here, am I crazy? Am I
crazy? Did I have one too many?
So from that's kind of the myth behind it. Whether that's true or not, we don't know. But from that time frame, this was around 2nd century BCE, so really, really, really early on.
Oh, wow.
When China was starting to slowly increase its hold on the world at this point. It was mainly had by emperors for a pretty long time, or like the people who worked underneath them, just very aristocratic people. But eventually it made its way down the caste system into like the lower levels of people. And it was primarily drank for medicinal purposes, which we still do today. You brew lavender into your tea to calm you down. You brew chamomile into your tea to, put you to sleep. Green tea, like I was saying, helps with antioxidant.
Yeah.
So mainly that's what they were using it for, was its, health purposes. There was a Chinese philosopher in 220 AD where it said to drink bitter tea makes one think better. Basically that translates to if you drink tea, you are smarter.
Oh, all right.
So it was very believed that tea is going to make you this enlightened person, is going to make you healthier, make you function better. So it became very commonplace among those kinds of people. There was another Chinese philosopher who claimed tea was one of the most vital ingredients in the elixir of life. So a lot of philosophers at the time were trying to figure out this elixir of life, this eternal life, keep you youthful and healthy. This guy claimed that tea was one of the most primary ingredients because of that phrase of to drink this tea makes you healthier, makes you smarter. Right, and what keeps you more youthful than that? So it was...
Sardines.
Girl, you and your sardines. You and your omega, what is it? Your omega 3s. Omega 3s.
Continue, sorry.
No, you're good. But it stayed in China for a very long time. So obviously we started back in about the 2nd century. Our modern day techniques for brewing tea, at least the way that we do it with like tea kettles and letting the leaves steep a while, then, all of their more modern techniques came from the Song Dynasty, which... what I learned may have introduced some of our more loose leaf styles. So what used to be was they'd have compact bricks, in a sense, just like tabs of tea. It was dried and just kind of pressed together and then brewed that way, like a puck. Kind of like you would do for espresso.
Yeah.
But then during the Song Dynasty, they started introducing, let's just put the leaves in the water. And
the loose leaf tea.
Yeah, put them in the kettle, put them in the pot. So we kind of got our inspiration from that. But during the mid-17th century, this is where things start to get a little rough in the tea trade area. Like coffee is used in South America, like Colombia and the Philippines a lot, and it has caused some political unrest in some situations. tea has been a point of unrest as well. So back in the 17th century, we started to see the colonialism of like Britain, UK, just European countries in general. So they had found their way into India, and tea was starting to make its way there as well. It's escaping the Chinese provinces and it's making its way there. So Europe says, dude, this stuff's kind of good. I mean, we could profit off of this.
Europe's like, hey man.
Hey, knock knock, white people. So they go into India, and instead of saying, hey, let's make a situation, like let's make a
deal.
mutually beneficial deal, they decided
Hey, let's strike a
to
deal.
enslave they decided to enslave the people of India and force them to farm tea so they could bring it back to their country and enjoy it there. That's where it also continued the more aristocratic feel. So typically queens, kings, duke, duchess,
We drink tea.
they were the only ones. They never really sent it down to the lower castes per se. And it was a very like held tight secret. And obviously, as we know today, a lot of UK residences, especially if you're in higher society, they still do tea times, afternoon tea. It is a huge part of their culture still. But what happened? We decided to send some people over to the New World. We decided to send some people to the United States of America. Well, it wasn't US at that point.
Everything happens in the New World. You
Right.
enter the New World, you're like, dang,
Whoa.
what is this? Where is this place?
And so we have our, we have our 13 colonies. People are settling there. Then some unrest happens again.
No.
Britain is not being very fair to our poor, dear patriots.
I
And they say,
wonder
we're going to
what
tax
happened.
your tea, and you don't get a say in it. I know. And so people in Boston were like, real shit? No way. And so we obviously have the big event of the Boston Tea Party in Boston Harbor. They dress up as Native Americans, indigenous people, and they get on these boats to throw off the tea.
Throw the tea.
No taxation without representation. Which that act led to the Boston Massacre, which led to the Revolutionary War, and to America being free itself. And to think that all came from tea at some point, which is crazy. But obviously wasn't the main thing, but it helped. So tea has kind of now made itself very widespread. Like you said, it had some pretty solid checkpoints. It stayed within China for a long time. And then it made its way to India, in which those people were enslaved for the tea. Then made its way to Britain, then it made its way to the United States, and here we are today, where it's a little less of a tension point politically. It's kind of widespread enough. Right now, the tea market is worth $6.8 billion.
Dang.
So clearly, it is not in short supply. It is quite literally just leaves and flowers dried out and put in hot water. You can do that in your own backyard. I know a few people who will grow chamomile and mint and make their own tea blends. So it's been known as something for high society, but it is something you can just do in your backyard. And it's made it more accessible to people like myself who aren't a part of, British high society. Society.
Lady Libby.
But something interesting that I had to research was there are a few types of teas in general, and they all come from generally the same region, but they are a little more widespread. So green tea was the main type that you would find just throughout China because, again, medicinal. It was a natural antioxidant. It did a lot of good things for them. And green tea and the other main types come from the exact same plant. They all have the same base. It's called Camellia sinensis, which is just a type of flower.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of how you dry the leaves. So green tea is kind of just dried out.
Yeah.
It's its base normal level. Then you have your black teas, which I'm not as big of a fan of, but those are like your roasted leaves. They are a little bit more dark, flavorful, a little more akin to coffee. And you'll find those primarily in India, Sri Lanka, and Kenya. So a little bit more of those warmer weather climates and stuff. Then your oolong teas are also in China, but you can also see them in Taiwan. I love an oolong.
Oolong is very good.
I had a good one the other day. It was an iced oolong, but it had peach in it. Oh my god. So
Ooh.
good. I love it. That and ginseng, I love.
Ooh.
Big fan. But yeah, oolong is from China and Taiwan. Then your white teas, which are a little bit lighter, they're easier on the palate, they're not as grassy and all that. That comes from the Fujian province of China, so a very specific area. This is more of their technique. And then you have your yellow teas, which are also pretty widespread out through China, not one specific province.
Yeah.
But while those were kind of the main types of tea, the main categories you can branch most of your herbal blends into, we also have a few like miscellaneous ones that I also enjoy. You have your chai, which comes from India.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, masala chai is usually the more popular one. We also have your rooibos, which comes from, I believe, like a honey bush in Africa. I know it's African, but it comes from a specific like red honey bush.
Yeah.
And then you have your matcha teas.
Matcha. Have you tried matcha?
I have tried matcha. That's a Japanese delicacy.
Yes.
How do you feel about matcha?
How do you feel about matcha?
Because
what you say might depend on the future of this podcast.
Oh my god. Like, I think it's fine. If it's prepared the right way, like you made it with like the oat milk and stuff, I think it was really fine. But I've had other times where it's just like, listen, as a person who drinks green tea, that's grassy, and sometimes matcha gets a little too grassy.
Did I make it for you?
Yeah, you made it for me.
When did I make it for you?
Like a long time ago.
Okay, I don't remember when I made it for you. But anyway, I really enjoy matcha. I really like it. I actually didn't try it until I started working at a cafe.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried it okay, no wait, that's a lie. I had tried it, but it was not good and it was bad. And so I was like, ooh, I don't like this. And then it took me a while, and then I tried it again at the shop that I work at, and it was very good.
Okay.
I will say it's not for everyone.
No.
You know, everyone has their preferences. I really enjoy matcha. One, because it has a lot of benefits for you.
Yes, it does.
And another is because I just like the taste of it. My favorite right now is an iced lavender matcha.
Okay.
I think that's really good.
Mm.
I like a lot of, because we have switched between a rose and a lavender syrup. Floral syrups in it, I think make it 10 times better.
I would agree.
And especially lavender. But
it's a balancing act.
I thoroughly enjoy it. I like matcha. It's very good. It's good for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I also like matcha flavored things too. So I tried matcha gelato.
Okay.
Which was really good.
Interesting.
And what else did I try? I tried something else that was matcha. Oh, it was like this chocolate that had like matcha infused in it. You know what I still want to get is like it's like a it's a kit you can get, and it's matcha chocolate, or like it's like I think it's white chocolate with matcha infused in it, but it's like levels of it. It gets lighter and then it gets all the way to like dark matcha. And I really need to try it.
I don't like white chocolate, or otherwise I would do that.
I mean, I can't remember if it's white chocolate or not. It might be though.
Yeah,
anyway.
I mean that would make the most sense. But
anyway, sorry.
So yeah, those are kind of your main classifications. Everything else kind of falls under the herbal blend category. Because you're never going to say, oh, I'm getting a chamomile lavender tea. Like, yes, you could, but that's not a tea itself. It's a chamomile lavender blend. And it's usually a chamomile lavender green tea or a ginger chai. You know, they all fall under a category. My favorite personally are like the spicier ones. So usually they're blended with a chai or a black tea, which goes against everything I know. I like that. And then I love a green tea with blueberry and lemon.
Ooh,
those are usually my favorite herbal blends. They brew up really nicely and you can do a lot with them. And that's the thing, each type of tea, no matter what type you do, they all have their own kind of brewing instructions. So like coffee, you can do a bunch of different methods with them. Green teas, I usually steep from anywhere between 3 and 5 minutes. Otherwise, if you brew them for too long, and it starts to bring out the tannins in the leaf, which makes it bitter and more grassy. So for those of you who are like, I hate tea, I've tried it 100 different times, try reading the instructions before you brew it, because I guarantee 90% of the problems are coming from just letting the tea bag sit in the drink.
Steep for a long time.
So usually what happens is on your tea bag, depending on if it's a green tea, black tea, white tea, yellow, whatever, it'll say 3 to 5 minutes and brew at this specific temperature, yada, yada, yada. I never boil my water. I get it just hot enough before it boils and then I take it off. Too hot, tannins come out. Leave it too long, tannins come out. It's a very specific process, kind of like coffee is, just in a different way. And speaking of very specific processes, my last thing I wanted to talk about for my portion is like your traditional tea ceremonies that you see. I think they're so fascinating. And a lot of people tend to tokenize it, especially in the Americas, where they're just like, oh my God, I'm in love with this. And they don't do their research on it. So they try to, replicate it.
And then...
But these things are like really culturally significant. They have really nice sets. The setting of these ceremonies are usually like weddings or, stuff of the sort. So very big deal. And when I was looking it up, there are about 7 steps roughly that they take to actually brew the tea for people. And so what you first have to do is you have to prep your tea set.
Is this a specific tea ceremony? Is this like a traditional like Japanese tea?
This is like your
just like
just
overall.
Overall, I didn't go crazy.
Oh, okay.
The one that I was looking at, it's from the Royal Museums in Greenwich, and they were talking more like as if it were a wedding tea ceremony.
Got it.
Or like the combining of 2 families. So you prep the tea set essentially. You get out your pot, your cups, your strainer, your kettle, get some water, your tea leaves, usually a green tea, a tray, and your tea leaf holder. So there's a lot of stuff. I don't know about you, I just use my electric kettle and some shoddy little mug that I pulled from my cabinet. But these people, they have a whole setup.
Yeah.
And so to prep the tea set, what you do is you rinse the cups with hot water. You just kind of pour it in, and then you pour it into your teapot, swish it around, dump it out onto the mat that you usually have laying on the table. That just helps preheat your pot, preheat the cup so it's not going in cold. And then after you do that, you do not use your hands for this. You use a scoop or chopsticks traditionally to scoop out the right amount of tea leaves to put into your pot. And usually it's only about 1/3 full. Any more than that and you start to get bitter and it doesn't do its thing. So you get to be about 1/3 full. And you do, like I said, you do not use your hands. That's nasty, right? You get your grubby little hands on the stuff you're serving to your bride's family. Then you rinse the tea leaf. So you're rinsing again with hot water from your kettle. And that tea leaf is to just get like the dust off of it, all the nasty contaminants.
Yeah.
You put it in, you rinse it, dump it out onto your mat. That's not your initial brew. You're just prepping them. After you get those tea leaves kind of prepped and ready to go, that's when you actually start brewing it. You pour your water into your kettle and you let it steep. But not only are you pouring water inside the kettle, you're pouring water on the outside of it as well. You want it to be even temperature on the inside and outside.
Oh.
Which is something I never do because that takes way too long. But for situations like if you have this metal, it would heat it on both ends and keep it nice and warm and consistent. Consistent is important for tannins. Then, after you brew it for the right amount of time, you rinse out the teacups again to get the dust out, anything that is settled. And it's also kind of to reheat them again. You want to keep everything nice and orderly, nice and neat. Then eventually, you pour your tea. Once it sets, you start to serve it out to people. And depending on the event, there is an order that you can pour the tea out to specific people. I did not look into this because I could not get one solid answer and I didn't want to just assume.
Yeah.
But usually the second pour is better. The more you let the leaves open up and the flowers blossom, the more flavor you're going to get. So the first pour, from what I initially saw, might go to the groom's family because it's like, oh, whatever. But the bride's family might get the better pour. At least that's what I've seen from one thing. Don't trust what I say, but yeah, I think they're very interesting. They take a long time. They're very specific, but I think it turns out like really worthwhile in the end.
Yeah, I think it's just like a lot of care. It's like the care that you put into it.
Right,
So
exactly.
Same with coffee, like the steps, and then I feel like if someone like takes the time to like brew you like coffee or make you tea, I feel like that is like a huge gesture of like, oh, I care about this person.
Right.
I'm going to make them this beverage.
Yeah, because what I could do is just get you a glass of water and say,
here you go.
But no, I spent the time. I made you this very particular drink, and I put a lot of care into it to make sure it tastes good for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there's a lot of cool stuff that goes into that. And a lot of different cultures use tea in different ways. So, like in Britain, they have your high tea, you know,
then you have your tea ceremonies and things like that.
Yeah, and then even in like a more witchy culture, you can use the tea to read your tea leaves. Whatever is left behind in your cup, you dump it, and you can kind of read around the rim and stuff. It's cool.
Yeah, I think both things are very cultural, like impacts that have had on society.
Yeah,
that it's like, oh, this is a whole new culture,
right?
That is just gone off,
and you don't think about it a lot. Oh, there's a squirrel up there. You don't think about it a lot when you're making your morning coffee, like out of your Keurig. You don't think about it when you just get an iced tea from the fridge and I'm cracking my Snapple. But when you really sit down and take the time to do it properly, then you can kind of think about it like, oh yeah, I can see how this could be culturally significant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
That's fun. I like this. I love a good research project.
Learning about it.
Indeed.
We should do more of these. We're like we just
should
research one. We just start having debates with each other.
Don't do that. I get too competitive. I'm always like, I'm gonna win. She can't stop me.
You're wrong.
I'm right. But yeah. Is there anything else you wanted to add to this? Or
nope. I think that was pretty much it.
Okay.
I thoroughly enjoyed that. That was fun.
That was cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
I hope you guys learned something new today, either about coffee or tea or both.
Or both.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that being said, we are going to start wrapping up the episode. If you get the chance, please support your local coffee shops and cafes. They're going to do it best for you. Usually there's a little bit more love and care than what goes into like your Starbucks drinks. But in whatever way you can, support your local people. And remember that Hey Girlie podcast episodes come out every other Wednesday on Spotify and YouTube. You can also find us on our Instagram, TikTok, and Substack at Hey Girlie Pod. But until then,
bye, girlie!